I didn't create the program, right? Rob, that's Rob's baby. He had done all the legwork with that. One of the things that I think he does really well is he does a couple of days, and it's usually like the level 1 is like I don't know, 8 or 9 day class, 2 days in a row spread out over a couple of weeks. So you get a couple of sleep cycles in there.
Okay.
It's kind of congruent with adult learning model, that sort of stuff.
Smart.
So he took that approach, which is appealing to departments because they don't have to send people for 2 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm.
The other aspect of it is there's, scenario-based training, and there was simunitions and stuff like that. But the scenarios, he uses role players from the gym. So they're not less likely to get injured. They're less likely to freak out. They're probably in shape, right? And they do exactly what you tell them to do. So they're not going to do the wild, off-the-cuff stuff that is unrealistic and not helpful for training that we commonly see when cops are role players, right? They want to hide 5 people in the trunk with pistols on a car stop and do like weird stuff like that. This does not happen during that course. It's very realistic for what people experience day to day. And then we do another day where it's a pressure testing day. And on the pressure testing day, we'll do like grappling-based drills. For people that train, it's a regular hard training session. But for people that have never trained before, they dread it and they don't know what to expect. And they have no idea what it is. So it's an eye-opening event to them because a lot of them come into that with the preconceived notion of, oh, I'm a cop, I'm good. And, they got the big gym muscles and all this sort of stuff. And the people that come in and train with these guys are, again, people from the gym. So you got we had a dude at the last one who was like 55 years old. And he's putting these guys to shame. And it's eye-opening for people to see that when they experience that.
Mm-hmm.
And that experience is, I've seen it be life-changing in some people. And then the third thing that I think is, then you'll have the people that are firearms guys, and they think, you hear the term like, oh, if they tried to fight me, I'd just shoot them.
Right.
And we doing a lot of work with Craig Douglas and stuff. Rob has done a ton with Craig. I've been training with Craig for a while too, and we'll do some live drills with sim guns and the Redbeard helmets,
mm-hmm.
and people will see like that is not as easy as you think it is, and it's sometimes makes the situation worse when you decide to pull out a tool at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that consistent with body camera. People are too close, they're pulling out tasers, people are grabbing the tasers, people are smacking pepper spray out of people's hands, all the stuff that we see all the time. And the fact that the students get to experience the failures in the mat room and then shown the correct way to do that, or usually it's vice versa. The class will be conducted and then they'll be put into a drill or a scenario at the end. They get to see, like, prior to this, their imagination was the only thing that was guiding them in these drills, and now they're like, oh wow, this is eye-opening. I think those experiences where people are tested in front of their peers are worth more than anything that you can teach in a classroom or quantify through a test. And I think the combination of all of those things, they go back to their department, they show people, they send influential people from the PD down to the class, and then that kind of just rinse, lather, repeat until you start to get, the chiefs start to hear about it, and then everything kind of works together to progress the mission and spread awareness of it.
So I didn't hear you at any point talk about, like, we have to get through these boxes and tick these boxes, right? Like, student needs to learn this, then they need to learn that, then they need to learn this. And obviously there's a curriculum there to make sure that people are getting some practical stuff that they can take away, as well as the, as well as the experience is the word you use. And I think that's super important. Obviously, I've said this many times. I think there's no greater lesson in life than to be physically dominated by another human. And if you've not grappled, in sport or, in BJJ or whatever else, and you don't know what that feels like, it is a shock when it happens the first time, particularly when it happens to you from somebody that's smaller in stature, doesn't look the part, whatever the case is, and they're just handling purely with skill, speed, on all the other things you want to say, speed, violence of action, all those kind of things, right? They just, it's that thing that you will take away from you and you can't get it out of your head. Like you just know you got handled. And you can't get that through, we're going to go through step 1, right? And then we're going to teach you step 2, and we're going to step 3. And then by the time you get to step 10, you're going to have the things that you need in order to get there. So without running on this, really what I heard you talking about was the process. And the process of giving people tools and skills for problem solving. And part of the problem solving is knowing, is being exposed to the problem that you created for yourself for lots of reasons. Getting too close, you said, right? Not taking maybe action, close enough, pulling a tool out too early in a scenario, those kind of things. And those things have to happen in real time. It cannot be, this has been my experience, and from all the folks I've talked to and work with, that cannot be contrived. That has to happen in real time. And you have to be an observer of that to see it. And then you also have to be the user of it to experience it in order to get that. And until that happens, what are we teaching people? And I think the bigger question there is like, what are we doing in terms of setting people up for success or failure if we're not doing it that way? And I think to your point with body-worn cameras and the officers' reactions to what you're giving them, now they get it. They needed that to happen in order for that to happen. Not on the street, in the mat room, right? In the gym. And so the process piece. And then I wonder in that process, like, how are you evaluating successes versus failures in those moments? And when somebody gets through, I think you said it's 9 days, nine total days. How are you sending people on, and you're going, you're good for now, right? And here's the things you're going to need to work on, and here's the resources we have for you to be able to do it. How does all that work out for you? Because again, if I'm an administrator somewhere, I need to see on paper that this is working. How do I know if it's working or not? Can you answer that?
Yeah. So a couple things. I'll speak to this first. So the first thing, the way that Rob does the program, it's a 9-day class, and the purpose of the class is his example that he always gives is it's a flashlight showing you different areas that you may not be aware of in this world of policing, in the combatives world. And it's everything. There's a lot of different areas. There's team arrest tactics. There's handgun retention. There's ground control, handcuffing people against vertical barriers, vehicle extractions. It's a very broad topic. So no one's going to come to the course and become an expert in all those things. Right. So it's just like, he says it's like, the guy in the mall with the chicken on a stick. Hey, you want to try this? Here you go. Try the chicken. Right. And it's letting the students try out all of these things and have that experience. And for example, the last class was around 50 people, and he only gave out 4 instructor certificates. The only way you can be an instructor in it is you have to show that you're currently training in one of the, what we'll say, vetted grappling systems or fighting systems, and that's like wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, something, because all the things that you're going to show, you need a base foundation in something, right? And the grappling arts, specifically wrestling, tend to give the most bang for your buck when it comes to police work. Jiu-jitsu is great, but jiu-jitsu people get too jiu-jitsu-y when it becomes combatives because it's a weapons-based environment, and we bring weapons to every scenario or situation, so they're always present. So we have to take that into consideration. So the spotlighting effect gives them the taste, and then the only way to become certified to teach through that class is you have to show that you've trained and continue to train, and that's usually by training with one of the instructors, or it's someone that, there's been professional MMA fighters coming through, and guys that are very well known throughout the area. They're going to be on the spot for the instructorship. So they don't get it just
So
by
it's like
showing
there's a
up. And
mentorship
departments
process that
hate
happens here,
But
for
he's
sure.
not wavering from that. And I think that's part of the good thing that this is producing is quality instructors